One of the first people to campaign against FGM was a lady named Walrus Diary. Walrus Diary, one of 12 children, was born into a traditional family of desert nomads in East Africa. She remembers her early childhood as carefree, racing camels, and moving on with her family to the next grazing spot, until it came to her turn to meet the old woman who administered the ancient custom imposed on most Somalian girls of circumcision. Walrus suffered this torture when she was just 5 years old. Then, aged 12, when her father attempted to arrange a marriage with a 60-year-old stranger in exchange for 5 camels, she took flight. After an extraordinary escape through the dangerous desert, she made her way to London and worked as a maid for the Somalian ambassador until that family returned home. Penniless and speaking little English, she became a janitor in McDonald's, where she was famously discovered by a fashion photographer. Walrus was one of the first women to draw attention and campaign against FGM, and her book, Desert Flower, highlights this crusade. FGM is practiced in many countries across the globe. Somalia has a 98% prevalence rate, and other hotspots including Egypt has a 91% prevalence rate and Sudan 88%. The practice of FGM is a cultural tradition performed across Central Africa, in the Southern Sahara and in parts of the Middle East. Most women who have experienced FGM live in one of the 28 countries in Africa and the Middle East where FGM is practiced. Statistics from the Home Office have said that there are 66,000 women in the UK who have had FGM, and there are 24,000 young girls at risk. However, these statistics may be higher. In most countries, FGM is performed in unclean conditions, mainly by traditional practitioners who may use scissors, razor blades, or knives. FGM can cause a range of health problems, both short and long term, and these problems all depend upon the degree of the cutting, the cleanliness of the tools used, and the health of the girl who is receiving the cutting. The short-term problems are bleeding or hemorrhaging, infection, pain, and trauma. The long-term problems are problems going to the toilet, not being able to have sexual intercourse, gynecological problems, not being able to fall pregnant, an increased risk of STDs, and finally psychological and emotional stress. The World Health Organization have separated FGM into 3 categories. Category 1 is the most common. The clitoris is held between the thumb and index finger, pulled and amputated with a blade. Category 2, the clitoris is removed, but the labia minora, also known as the vaginal lips, may also be partially or totally removed. Category 1 and 2 are the most common types of FGM. The final category, Category 3, is the most extensive. It involves complete removal of the clitoris and the labia minora, also the inner surface of the labia majora, which are the 2 rounded outer folds that lie on either side of the vaginal opening. Once removed, the remaining raw edges of the labia majora are brought together with stitching or thorns to hold them in place. The healed scar creates a hood of skin which covers most of the vagina and acts as a barrier to sexual intercourse. The only opening is at the back of the vagina, which allows for urine and menstrual flow. The opening can be as small as the head of a pin. International health organisations generally believe that lasting change towards FGM can only take place with the support of governments and local communities within affected countries. Pressure from outside those countries has little chance for success if there is no educational and legal support from within their borders. Layla Hussein, a Somalian-born British woman who is co-founder of the campaign group Daughters of Eve, documents her own personal journey of being cut. Layla Hussein started the petition in the hope to have 100,000 signatures by July 2014. This target was reached months before. The petition was started with the aim of raising awareness to the community about FGM, as well as ensuring the Home Office took responsibility for drawing up and enforcing the implementation of a national strategy and action plan to eliminate FGM in the UK. The Royal College of Midwives' report into female genital mutilation also raised awareness around a procedure that many people who practiced it considered a cultural commandment. The report, called Tackling FGM in the UK, was written by several members of the Royal College of Midwives and Gynecologists, and it was supported by the previous Director of Public Prosecutions, Keir Starmer. The Royal College of Midwives believed that FGM should be classed in the same league as child abuse. The next campaign was started by a young girl named Farmer Mohammed. The campaign was launched on the 6th of February, the UN's day to mark zero tolerance of FGM. The Guardian newspaper reported that despite almost 3 decades of legislation against FGM, there were still many girls at risk, and many of those girls were under the age of 15 years old. Reporting that more than 140 million women and girls around the world were affected by FGM, The Guardian also launched a detailed and comprehensive campaign against the practice and supported Farmer with her petition. Farmer Mohammed's petition called on Michael Gove, the current Education Secretary, to take action. The petition became one of the fastest growing petitions hosted on the campaigning website change.org. At one point, it was attracting 2 signatures every second. Within days, the Scottish Government had agreed to write to all schools to ask them to train their staff and educate parents about FGM. These campaigns and petitions have led to worldwide awareness of a practice of abuse that has been hidden behind culture, dating right back to 1997 when Warrior's Diary wrote her book Desert Flower about her experience of being cut, right up to the present day with Farmer Mohammed launching a campaign to teach young children in schools about FGM. It appears that change is coming, and it also means that FGM is being talked about by many people, and the campaign to end it is being heard loud and clear.